like colors. So I can go into personalize, I can click opal, because I don't have opal, and submit. And then it just changes the color. I mean, I know it's a silly thing, but I like it. Okay, anything on my USC page?
I've just graduated. I have a bunch of like leftover courses in my courses. Can you show me how to do
You can get rid of them. Okay. When you have course after course after course, and have last fall's courses and the fall before, you can go up here to my courses, go on the S, and here's your settings. So say I don't want to see Mike Brown's Blackboard course because I'm done with that. You just unclick all the X's and it won't show up anymore. But it's not disappear. So if you say, oh, I really need to see something that was in that course, you can go back in and recheck it. Okay? So I'm going to take out, why don't I take out everything? I have to unclick. So now I should only have, if I click it correctly, the CFI scores. Don't forget to submit. And there's my one course. That saves a lot of space. What I always recommend is keep this front home page very clear in just what you're going to use. When you go to the course tab, you still have all the courses listed there. There's two ways to find your courses. So make it disappear from one place, not the other. Okay? So now we're going to go into our course. Just click on that. Any other questions on that home page? Every course is going to look a little bit different because every professor fixes it the way they want it. Okay? But on the whole, you may come into the front page. This is now the course homepage. You have no control now over this at all. Notice I cannot change these. I cannot get rid of it. So whatever the professor puts here is here for your use. Sometimes professors have the course come in just onto announcements or just on the calendar. Once again, it all depends. When you're in a course and they use the calendar, it's only the calendar for that course, not your other ones. Only the announcements for this one course. To do, if they set an assignment, it'll show up here what to do or what to not do. This one has 0 because we haven't really used the course, but it would say 3 things due today. You can actually click on it. It'll give you a link to that assignment. And I always recommend going to the arrows, and you can dismiss it when you're done. So right now, if there's anything there, I can dismiss every assignment. But to me, it's a way of keeping track of what I've done and what I haven't done. So if there are 3 assignments here, I would go here, click on the arrow, and dismiss that one. And then I know I have 2 more assignments to be done. So that's a nice little to-do. But once again, it depends on if your professor uses it or not. Most of the time, okay, over here, your professor may have a link called syllabus. Guess what's in there? Yeah, syllabus. Once again, this course has been set up so, it's Mr. Ryan's course. So we can see what he did. So it's the information. Now he took the syllabus and he separated it into sections. So if you need to know the learning outcomes, it's there. Or if you go down, there's academic integrity. So he has it separated. Then I know at the bottom, he also has a printable version. Click here, it's not clicking. I think it's the latest version. But sometimes professors will just have the PDF up there, or just the Word document. And then you can just click on it and it'll download. Just like you download any kind of a document. He has schedule separated. There's the schedule of his course and everything. Once again, this is the way he has set it up, not anyone else. But the main thing you need to know is here's the menu. His course materials are in here. There's reading, there's information. See if this was the syllabus or whatever, this is student information. Just click on it and it asks you to open it. And it just opens. So it's just like, you know, an attachment to an email. It's really pretty foolproof. A lot of times you'll see these folders, and what is, it's a folder, and you click on the word, and inside will be more information. So that here's the reading, here's the information slip again, and here he has an assignment. I'm going to go back to that in a minute. He also has this set up where here's week by week. So once again, you would click on here, and then he has it, and once again, not everyone has it set up like this, but all the information will be in there. And you just click on what you need. So here's an assignment, and he has written out what the assignment is. Say there's an assignment here. Here was this. This is called a safe assignment. There's two different ways to do assignment. The safe assignment is when you upload a paper and there's another web service that actually reads your paper and goes through it and says if it's been plagiarized or not. And it'll tell you how many words have been plagiarized. So I'm going to do this actually. So when you see this check mark, it means it's a safe assignment. You click on View and Complete. Here's the name of it. You make comments to your teacher if you want, but you just browse the computer. We downloaded, I just plagiarized. I really did this. I copied this whole article. Admit it and submit it. It's that simple. Now what happens? It's thinking. It may take a little bit of time. Let's make sure it's submitted. Put it in here. Now, very, 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 very important. See that green bar up there? Whenever you submit an assignment, you should see that. If you don't see that green bar, it means it didn't go through. So do it again. And professors can see everything you do. What day and what time you submit. So you can. So it's been submitted. And now the professor will get to see the paper. And I'm not sure how exactly.
Right, and so we're going to give it about 15, well, about 8 or 9 minutes while we finish up things, and then we'll show you where you can go to see your plagiarism report. It will tell you word for word where it found your paper online, okay? And of course, your instructor also sees this as well, okay? This is how we can save us faculty time to see if you plagiarized or not. Okay.
Okay. Is there any questions on uploading?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but just mentioning that. Is that a bad thing to check the safe sign, or is that okay to do? I mean,
As long as you don't plagiarize, it's great.
No,
I mean, that's how we do it for you.
I'm trying to say, you know, I can see anyone actually release something out and it's like, okay, well, this needs to be documented, and I just messed up. But
Right.
I
If
don't
the
know.
professor has it set to where you can resubmit multiple times, then that's great. But if it's just a submit once, then you realize that you're going to have to email your professor and
And say, give me a chance to redo it.
Yeah.
Professors have a chance to give you one chance to put an assignment, 2 chances, 3 chances, 4 chances, whatever. So it's up to the professor. Also, not everything will be through the safe assign. It may just be a regular assignment and it doesn't go through the plagiarism.
So for an example like that student information sheet that Lenny just showed a few minutes ago, when I have my U101 class submit that, I mean, there's no reason to run that through
Okay.
through safe assign. But something, like a paper, I will use that because, I would like to make sure that they, they're citing their sources and they're just not copying and pasting. I know that there was a few
Yeah.
questions.
Isn't it up to the professor's discretion as to whether or not you get that feedback? Because I thought it's possible to set it up where you don't get it.
Right, and Lenny's fixing to show you the 2 different assignments. I think there was a question back there.
That safe check, will it come back and tell you, because yesterday they told us that about 20% of the papers that we write will probably come back as possibly
Right.
plagiarized at that percent. Would that tell you
Yes,
the percentage?
Yes.
So you could use that to check,
it
to
will.
make sure you're.
And I've had, several times, as long as you include your in-text citations, it won't pick up stuff like that. So it would show that you copied and pasted, but it's not, that's not enough to realize that you're using in-text. Yes.
A lot of times with SafeSign, if you go to your tools and then look at your grades, like after you turn it in, like it'll kind of be blue and you can click on it, and that's like where a little bar comes up and it'll tell you like it's submitted, it's still like pending grading, and then it'll give you the percentage that matches. So you'd actually like have to go to your grades and figure
Yep.
that
I'll
out.
check.
Just a few moments. Any other questions there?
Okay, so here is a regular assignment without safe assign. So he has to set up, student information sheet. And it just says assignment. It gives the directions. You have a choice of typing your assignment in here, but I do not recommend it, ever. Because I've had students lose all their information because the computer went down. So always work on a Word document, save. You just browse your computer and upload it, just like we did. I don't think I need to show you that again. But make sure you can write comments to your professor. Please be nice to me, sir. And submit it. You don't need to save a draft because you're not typing in the text box. Once you submit it, you'll be able to get the green box. So that's pretty much the same, except it's going through a different system. It'll go directly to your professor without going through any kind of check. Okay. Rubrics. I'm going to go down to my grades. My grades are grades because you see only your grades. You don't see the neighbors. It's just yours. So you can keep track on how good you're doing. And right here, on some, if professors use rubrics, they'll be here. So you can see for the assignments, the due date. You can see if he's graded it. You can see the last time I was in the system, looking at it. And right here is the rubric for it. So he made this rubric, and then you can sit here and say, okay, when I do this paper, for me to get the best grade, I have to do all this. That's what's so nice about rubrics. You just sit here and say, okay, I'm going to do, if I really want to say, I have to do everything that's in here. I actually had students say, all I need is a C. What do I need to do? And so, okay, do this. But don't. You guys will always do all that subgroup stuff. So it gives you an idea of what to do. So I like the rubrics. And you can view them here. This exclamation point means it needs to be graded. The professor has not graded it yet. Okay? Now, where's our Cs? Oh. It hasn't done it yet. Well, wait till the end, Brian can show us at the end for the safe side. So I think I covered anything. Any questions for me? Mostly it's looking at the syllabus, or looking at the menu and click and look. Okay? Check everything out, and I really recommend going in today and checking out your Blackboard. Make sure you can get it in before the classes start.
All right, just a few more things here that we would like to wrap up with some tools here. One of the most popular tools that I like to use, especially when I'm teaching online courses, is discussion board. So who in here has ever used a discussion board? All right. A lot of students find them somewhat annoying, but really, it's especially in the online environment, in case you have to take any online courses, or in a hybrid environment, you know, this is where you actually have your class discussions, okay? So, depending upon where the instructor has the discussion board, I have a link here called discussions, and when you click on that, you will see all of the discussion boards there that you need to work on and complete. So I'm going to take this first one here, which is on stress reflection. And so you would actually click on the discussion board, and you have the option right up here to where it says create thread. You would need to actually, when you're wanting to post an initial post or your first post, you actually need to click on where it says create thread. Very important here, within Blackboard, whenever you see the asterisk, that is a required field, so you do have to give it a name. Well, let me just type in some random text there. And then of course down here is your actual body, so you just actually respond to the actual discussion post. Notice here, before you click on submit, go back up top. You have a whole bunch of options. You can change the font size, the font color, add a photo. Sometimes instructors will ask you to, in the first week on the discussion board, to post a photo of yourself and a little bit of information. That's how you can do that. But this is just like your typical formatting toolbar in Microsoft Word. So once you type in your post, you can go down and press on submit.
And you can submit from the top or the bottom. You can also add links, upload documents.
And when you press submit, you will now see it, okay? Now, another thing that's common is for you to go and reply to your fellow classmates. So let's suppose we want to reply to this post. All you have to do is actually click on the actual thread, and if Lenny scrolls down, you will see what the student posted, and all you have to do is click on reply, and then that's how you can reply to your classmate. Any questions there on discussion boards? Yes? That depends upon your actual instructor, whether they want full APA, full MLA, or just the URL. I mean, my classes, yeah, you're gonna write the whole APA citation. But, that's left up to the instructors.
Now, you can go back and forth here to read the post, and, obviously we only have two, but if there's a lot.
All right. And so the other few things here that we want to wrap up here.
No. Okay, one more thing. When you start seeing your other fellow posts, do you see right here in the blue? It says 0, but you're going to see, 3, 4, 5 posts have been done. If you click on that, you're going to see all the posts in a row. So you don't have to really use the mouse. Okay?
All right. So there's only 3 more items here that we want to wrap up with, and those are the journal and blogs. sometimes your instructors may ask you to keep a journal or a actual blog. When you click on journal, here, you can actually click on the actual journal, and then you just click on create journal entry. Okay. Now, one thing to note with journals and blogs, by default, unless the instructor changes it, which usually they don't, journals are just between you and the actual instructor. Okay. Versus most discussion boards, or can be seen by all of your classmates. The journals and blogs are typically just for you and your instructor's eyes only. Okay.
It's called post entry.
So that's how you can post a journal, and then the blog works almost the exact same way. When it clicks on the blog,
You can respond by the comment.
then with blog, all you have to do is go over here to the right-hand side and click on new entry, enter in a blog post, and press submit. Or save. All right. Last two things. Lenny sort of had already showed you here the actual grade book here in the My Grades section, but this is where you can go if your professor is grading work, and you can see sort of where you stand at all times. Okay.
That
Now-
means there's a draft. Right? This little means you can go back.
And the final thing here that we want to wrap up with here is email. So when you click on email, this is where you can actually email your professor, okay, and or perhaps certain students in your class. So for an example, if you click on all or select users there, you can select various folks in your class to email. So if you don't know what their email address is, you can email them here. But remember, that email is going to go to that email address that you set in the personal information section that we talked about at the very start of here. All right, any questions on discussions or gradebook or email or anything we discussed? Yes?
So if we have a problem, we call it your office?
No. No. Lenny and I work in the Center for Teaching Excellence, okay, which is mostly for faculty. But you can call the UTS help desk. There's two options, and I know Lenny's going to show you one here within Blackboard. The UTS help desk is 777-1800. 777-1800. Or maybe they can call David's office, or do you want them to call UTS? Okay.
I'm going to do a quiz real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
803-777-1800. Also here within the course, if you click on help, and this is default in all courses by default, if you click on help, this is the Blackboard website's help. So if you need any issues there, you can search there. Okay? Does that help?
Yes, and, okay, so regardless of help, they have the ability to remote in my computer if I just can't get it?
You at that point would probably schedule. Well, let David talk to you probably how you want to handle that.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, quiz, because I want to do quiz. Okay, so if you take an online course, you click to launch. Here's the instructions. You just begin, because some of you will have online quizzes. You just begin. You just answer this one. know, maybe we can put a password on it. Oh, sorry, but it's simple. Just answer the question, make sure you save it, and go to the next. And it automatically saves it. Okay?
You guys are also saying,
We're talking about safe assignment for your 5 year. I mean, it was really 100% penetrance. Here it is. Oh, it's still running. But see, this is where you're going to get your report. So you go back and view and complete, and see it.
I generally, you know, what I would recommend is give it about 20 or 30 minutes, and then it will show up here where it says matching. If I can tell that it's still running. And the rule of thumb is give it about 20 or 30 minutes. Well, what you would do is you would click on there with the essay report, and it will show you. I can tell because it's still running there, but
Doesn't have any.
but this is what the report will show. You will see where it says matching. You will see your percentage of part of what the paper has been actual plagiarized. Then you can actually see here in the paper text that is the actual file that you uploaded. That is still checking.
It'll highlight.
And it will also show you where on the web it found it to be plagiarized at. So all the instructor has to do is click on the link. And boom. Yes.
how that works.
Okay.
I've been long time since I've been in school.
Okay.
And I'm curious about, is it looking for the exact copies of text? Or
Yes.
is it looking for actual location marks and everything to make sure it's
Kind of all of it. It's kind of like a big Google. I mean, it's kind of like a big search engine that just goes out and just pulls information from random parts of the web.
So if it says 30% or whatever, I don't know, 20%, and it could be actually cited and actually part of the paper.
Which is totally right.
Okay.
Yeah, I would highly ever doubt that you would ever get a paper that's 0% part. I mean, you're always probably going to get 5, 10, 15% because of your in-text of actual dictations.
Any other questions? We did a PowerPoint with just little quick little things on it. It's going to be on your social work Blackboard site. It does have our contact information on it, the last page. Okay, so if you need anything. Oh, I forgot about this. We have to, our office needs to do an evaluation on us, so we're going to pass out a real quick little check-off list for you if you don't mind filling it out and passing it back to us. Okay? Thank you.
All right, guys. Now we're going to go into all the others. It's a bunch of it. And we're not going to go into quite as much detail because I want everybody to sort of get an idea of the resources that'll be available to you. They mentioned support for you guys in Blackboard, and that brings me to the first point that I was going to touch. UTS will provide all Blackboard. They're pretty much, you guys pretty much are their responsibility. All your email systems, all Blackboard, all support, your personal computers, dormitories, everything pretty much that, besides a couple little things we're going to cover, are handled by UTS. So that number, that 777-1800, that's a really important number. You'll call that all the time. That's who, like I said, that's who will provide all kinds of services for you guys. Any kind of issues you have, pretty much they'll handle. Well, probably not. don't think they do any remote desktop. So, but they will walk you through it. And they can provide you some support. You can bring stuff in. So they'll do over the phone support. But I don't think they do any remote desktop. So, and that brings you to, they mentioned the Blackboard class organization. So we have a Blackboard organization called My MSW. All of you guys will be users in that class within the next week or so. So inside that organization, you'll see all of this information. You'll see all kind of resources in the information section. Let me actually go up there.
Just pass them to your right when you're done.
Okay, so you'll see this list over here from my organizations, and you'll see SOWK My MSW. Like I said, some of you, or most of you, probably won't be able to get into this currently, but within the next week or so, you will have access to it. So there'll be announcements, there's a calendar, there's all kinds of information in here about the program. You click on this information, this is the one that's kind of the most populated. You can see that the plan of study, license exam prep, information is in there, and there's practice tests. There's just all kinds, there's videos, there's all kinds of training inside there related to the license exam prep class. And this is accessible to everybody. Yeah, this is a class that all you guys will become available to all you guys. There's orientation that we're covering. All this information exists in there. There's even orientation from last year's orientation. All the videos, pretty much anything that you want to see from last year's orientation, which is really similar to this one. There's Blackboard information inside of this organization. There's listserv info, there's email stuff. It's just a bunch of information that you can access in this organization. And there'll be more as the semester and the year progresses. So go to that area for just all kind of general information. You can post stuff just like they covered, there's discussions. If we don't, let's hold off until the FAQ section and we'll go into these individual areas for questions. I just want to get you introduced to all this stuff because it's a lot of stuff. Inside of this section, there is information about how to contact UTS, where they exist, their address, the email address for them, their eye care center, all kinds of information about UTS. And they will work on your personal computers. They have an eye care division there. If there's anything wrong with your personal computers, and you'll have to take them there and you'll have to schedule appointments. As you can imagine, it's a pretty desirable service. But you can go to their website and see information about how to get your personal computer worked on. All right, so let's go to, and like I said, all this information is in this organization. Let's go and talk a little bit about the student email and listserv. I heard them talk about forwarding your email address to personal accounts. I would highly suggest that you don't do that. If you think about this, your email address here, as your email address at an organization, maybe your job in the future, you're going to have a business email address and a personal email address. This is your business. Your work here is your business. There's all kinds of information that passes through these email systems that are sensitive. So I would highly suggest not forwarding. Just check, this is your work. So check these accounts, check your USC email account regularly, daily, or at least a couple times a week, depending on how much interaction you have. Because some faculty members, there'll be varying degrees of utilization of technology. Some don't even use Blackboard. It's not a requirement to use Blackboard in class. So you may have some that don't use Blackboard at all. You may have some that hardly ever communicate electronically. You may have a bunch. So you'll have to just determine how often you check your email. But I would definitely use your USC one. We don't even respond to emails regarding any kind of, we used to actually respond and say, use your USC email account to ask questions about your student information. Now we don't even respond because we get so many of them. It takes like, it's twice as long even to respond to a Gmail account. And we don't know who you are at all. I don't care if it's got your first name, your last name, at Gmail, it's totally anonymous. So the USC email account lets us know you are a registered student, because that's the only way these things can be populated. So we know immediately that you're in our system, and we got a good idea who you are. So I would suggest not using any outside accounts. Now you'll have faculty members and staff members for that much that don't mind as much, but it is an initiative to have everybody use these. And I definitely recommend it because there's a lot of liability issues involved with different accounts. The listserv, there will be a listserv. Are you guys familiar with listservs? It's basically a big email system that forwards all your emails to everybody else. So there's a listserv that will populate you guys. Everybody here will be automatically enrolled in this listserv. You can send out emails to all your peers, asking questions. It's pretty much anything that you need info on. Other people can answer it. You can put announcements there. Staff and faculty can respond to it. So you can use it just as a way of communication. There's a lot of informational jobs and all that stuff. So, and like I said, you'll be automatically populated in that. The next section is Blackboard. We thankfully had people from UTS come over and talk about that, so I'm not going to go into too much of that. The next area we have is Adobe Connect. Adobe Connect is it's a free service for you guys. You may want to use it at different times. It's basically a area that you can have meetings. Groups of people can have meetings. It's a free account. It's provided by UTS. You can have, it's like a meeting place. You can store documents. You can show your desktops. You can have discussion forums, all kinds of stuff. So it's like an added area where you guys can meet if you need to meet for your classes. And this can be even amongst yourselves. You can use it for your own things. If you have something that you need to present, you can put recordings there. You can just, it's a good place to store videos. That's available to you. And this information, like I said, is all in this organization. Social networking. We have Facebook accounts for the university, for the college social work. We have Twitter accounts. And I don't know if you guys are friends with our accounts, but we try to stay pretty active. And we also would appreciate any kind of input you guys can provide. If you want to become active with college social work and providing information for other students, or if you've got something relevant to say and you want to put it out there, just let us know, and we can get you kind of connected with some means to do so, or even work with the college and providing information that you feel can help other students. We currently have a group of students that we submit articles of information that's posted on Twitter and Facebook, but we always welcome anything that anybody feels that could help other students. And then the links to these accounts are in this organization as well. The next section is the College Social Work Student Lab. The Student Lab is located in Thornhill Annex, It's right across from Destershire. When you walk in that building, it's straight ahead. There's about 20 20 or 21 computers in that room that are available for your use. Monday through Friday, 8:30 till 11. Saturday right now is closed, but if we have a need for that, we can provide some people to open the lab. And Sunday, I'll have to check on the hours, and the hours will be posted in this organization as well. But there's, like I said, there's 20, 21 computers in that room. There's printing services in that room, printer, 10 cents per copy. It deducts from your Carolina card. There's no way to pay directly, so just make sure you have stuff in your Carolina card when you print. There's a scanner in that room. There's projector. You can actually schedule that room if you need to do something with a group. So you can just contact us if you need to reserve that room. I also wanted to bring up something about printing too. I just saw that the university has a service they call WEPA, and it's a printing kiosk. There's actually one out in the lobby. So you can go online and you can store documents or print documents to these printing stations. You go to the printing stations and they'll print them off and you can recover it. It's 10 cents per copy and it prints it right out of the station. You just pick it up. That's pretty neat. And there's like 20 of them across campus. So nice little service. Let's see. Hardware and software, like I mentioned, UTS will work on your personal computers. Just contact them directly. Like I said, they have an eye care center. You can also purchase software at a reduced amount through VIP. There's an area in VIP that will provide you links to download Microsoft Office, and they're greatly reduced. There's a bunch of whole suites of software there you might want to check out. So go to VIP and you can see what software is provided to you guys. Let's see. And then there's another section. Let me show you this. This is actually a pretty nice little area. This area has information on all kinds of stuff, all kinds of questions that you guys get. So if you go to uts.sc.edu, this is in this stuff too. /FAQ. There's all kinds of information in here about all kinds of stuff that affect you. There's a section down here. This is kind of the best one for you guys. New students getting connected. There's all kind of FAQs in here about what UTS can provide for you, different ways of doing stuff. It's just a really nice resource. So that can answer a bunch of questions that you might have for different areas. So that's uts.sc.edu/FAQ. I think that's about all that I've got as far as the different areas, and we'll go into kind of questions and answers. And I guess we'll go ahead and start there. Go ahead.
How do we get like into the Blackboard page that you were in, like the My Social Work, MSW? How do we get into that?
Okay, that's a Blackboard organization.
Okay.
So if you go to blackboard.sc.edu, sign in with the USC credentials, it'll actually automatically appear in your My Organizations list. It's not there now because we haven't enrolled you, but in the we typically kind of wait for all the enrollment stuff to go through, so we'll have a good final group of students to populate.
And the listserv comes through that, correct?
Well, no, the listserv is actually kind of independent.
Okay.
It's like another system. You'll be populating that. So what you'll see, you won't even know if you're enrolled or not, but you'll see emails coming through from the MSW listserv. You know, you'll see an address, MSW, I think it's COSW, MSW. Anyway, you'll just start getting emails from it. Okay?
So if we haven't gotten them yet, we don't need
Yeah,
them.
and you guys have not been populated, so you won't get them. You won't get them until like another week or so. Okay, right here.
Do you have access to email as alumni, or same email addresses to those?
No.
Things out?
Yeah. So the email addresses, all for that matter, your USC user ID, those are created automatically. So as you come into the system, and there may be some of you guys that you're not completely done as far as the enrollment process, and you won't even have an email address yet. It goes through a process automatically. So once you've reached certain milestones through your enrollment, once you get to a certain point, your account's automatically created. So, I mean, when I say we and UTS, they don't have much to do with it. These are actually programs that do that for you. And it's the same thing when you exit. If you leave for a semester, your account will be deleted. Now, you can recover certain, like say if you got a bunch of email in there and you want to keep it, they can just reactivate that and your email will be there. But over a certain period of time. But typically, that doesn't occur for master's degree students. It typically occurs for doctoral. We have, because some of those guys will leave the university for a while and come back. So, okay, Matt?
I know you said that you don't recommend using a different email address. I had to leave mine up so that I could get it to come to my phone. But are there ways that
Yeah.
I had problems trying to get the USC link to that?
Yeah. There's actually instructions in this Blackboard. But anyway, there's instructions in there how to link your email account to your iPhone or Android device. I use mine like crazy. And they're actually pretty easy. It only asks for a server name, user ID, and password. So you should be able to do it on just about any newer phone within the last probably like 4 or 5 years.
Where is that?
It's in that Blackboard organization. Yeah, that you're not into, but you will be soon. You will be soon. And if you go to USC, if you just go to sc.edu and type in iPhone, you'll see a set of instructions there, and you can basically use the same instructions for Android devices. Okay, right.
I was the one that before mentioned all the issues with the university email system. How do we rectify that? What's going on with that?
Okay. All right, so the first thing, and unfortunately, we at social work can't do much for you on those, in those situations. So you'll have to go contact UTS and get them to check everything. Now, one thing I can help you with, so start with them first. They'll have to check. You may be in a situation where this is kind of common, where you're not completely through that enrollment process, and you may have filed all the paperwork. When I'm in that enrollment process, you may have filed all the paperwork and got all the stuff you need to do, but there may be staff working on your documents. You may not be completely done. I don't know that in your case, but that's kind of common. So contact them. They can usually resolve. They control all those systems. So basically, if you've got access to, if you've been enrolled and they can kind of see it in their systems, they can turn it